Hi, and welcome to the BookishStitcher podcast. My name is Jeanette. You can find me on Ravelry, Instagram, and Goodreads as BookishStitcher, all one word. I hope you guys have had a wonderful week since I was last podcasting. I had a couple things that I wanted to mention before I got into all the knitting stuff today. And I just took some notes on my phone because I wanted to remember and not forget. I wanted to say a big thank you. I completely forgot last week because I was talking about all the DFW stuff, to say thank you to everyone who wished me happy birthday. And I got lots of messages and I got some patterns gifted to me. And I felt so bad last week when I realized that I had forgotten to thank everybody on the podcast, and I wrote to everybody who had gifted me a pattern, and everybody said not to worry about mentioning it on the podcast, so you guys were all so sweet about not being angry that I forgot to mention. So what I decided to do is the next couple patterns that I knit, I'm going to knit my ones that I was gifted, and then when I cast them on and show them off to everybody, I'll say who gifted them to me then, instead of doing a long list, so that I can kind of thank each person individually. And so I just wanted to say that that's what I was going to be doing with that. I also wanted to mention my friend Susanna, who's a local knit night friend. She designs shawls, and she's Zuzu Seuss on Ravelry, and you might have heard of her shawls. She does gorgeous, amazing ones. In her Ravelry group right now, they are having sign-ups for a spring mystery shawl KAL, and I did the autumn one, and it was gorgeous, and so I'm definitely going to be participating in the spring one. And I believe their sign-ups for the free one, you have to be in their group and go to a thread and say, I would like to be included in this, and you can join the mystery KAL for free. I believe they end today, March 29th, and maybe the end of March. You have to go over to her Ravelry group and check, but you can join in any time. I think it's just free for right now. And so I just wanted to mention that to you guys in case you'd like to go over there and join in and check it out. Another thing I wanted to talk about, at DFW Fiber Festival, I met a woman who watches the podcast named Suzanne, I believe it was Susan, and she had asked me while I was there, and I've gotten this question before and I've just never really answered it on the podcast, how I learn all the languages. So I am fluent in English, of course, because that is the language I am speaking to you in, but I also know I minored in French in college. I know some Spanish, some Russian, and a tiny, tiny bit of Japanese. That's the next language I'm hoping to learn. But so how I learned those languages. French, of course, I studied in high school and I studied in college. So that's probably the language I know best. And to kind of stay current in French, because I don't get to speak to many French people, I watch a lot of French films. And that's kind of always been how I've learned different things, is I will download an audiobook, a learning audiobook, Pimsleur, or there are several different programs. There are also there are also video podcasts about learning how to do different languages. So that's kind of how I learned French. How I learned Spanish, I live in Texas, and my best friend, her whole family, other than her generation, only speaks Spanish. So I kind of started picking up stuff while hanging around her. And then in high school, I took a Spanish language class, and I just kind of went on from there. Most of my Spanish was taught by being around her family. Now, Russian, I didn't learn until I was an adult, and I took one of the adult language learning classes where you kind of go, and it's like a night class, and you go, and it was taught by a woman who moved to the States from Russia. And also for that, I do a lot of listening to Russian Podcast 101, which is on YouTube and teaches me new words. And I watch almost every Russian movie I can get my hands on. And so because I am a very auditory learner, I'm better at listening to the language and speaking it than I am at writing. I'm not very good with the alphabets of different languages. And for Japanese, I've been watching Japanese animated films for a while. And so I just kind of decided, I've picked up words here and there, and I've kind of decided that I want to learn it more. And there's somebody actually in the Ravelry group who speaks Japanese, and I think I'm going to start taking lessons with her, maybe via Skype, so that will be really great. So I just wanted to answer that question because I've been asked it before and I haven't ever answered it. If you have any other questions that you ever want to ask, you can just post them in the thread for the episode, and I will try to answer them next time if I remember. So I just wanted to tell you guys that since somebody had asked me. And I think that's all of the extra stuff for right now. I have something to mention at the end of the podcast during the read along section. But so let me show you my finished objects for this week. They're tiny little squares. These are the 2 that I did this month. I've been trying, my goal is to do 4 a month, but this month I only did 2. And these are actually some of my Space Cadet minis from the mini club that I was in. I just ended my Space Cadet mini club thing. Here's the other ones that came. This is the shipment from this month. But I just ended this one because I've got enough built up now and I've been given minis and I want to knit them up. I probably won't join another mini club for several months. I also have my next retreat coming up in July, which is a ways off, but I want to start saving money for it now because that's when I kind of like to do my bigger spending is at the retreats. So those are the ones that I'm going to be knitting up next. The 2 purple will be for my sock blanket for my daughter, and that will go into my son's blanket. Let me take a sip of my tea. I'm having some Teavana tea right now in my, just a little mug from World Market. I thought it was beautiful. And so those are my only finished objects, and they're tiny, but I had to bring them down and show you guys so I could have something, because I didn't have a finished object last week. Next week it's going to be, everything is finished. Everything's going to be off the needles because so many things are very close to completion. It seems to happen all at once. So I have a half finished object, and this is the sock for my mom. And these are out of some Regia, Viva la Color. And the other one is in my Sew For You hot air balloon bag. And I just turned the heel on this, so it's sort of like that. I just have to do the cuff, and she likes a shorter cuff, so that won't take me very long. The other thing that I have that's very close to being done is and this is in a Tangerine Designs bag, this little octopus. This is my Firefly KAL shawl by Kati Moore, and it is out of some of my deep, deep stash that I'm using up for use up to 15 of your oldest skeins this year. And this is, I believe, some Fanny's fingering weight. See if I have the tag in here. I do. Yay. Okay. That's some Fanny's fingering weight in the Sedona colorway. And I'm done with the entire body of the shawl. The next part she has you do in the pattern is do some little, I don't know what you call them, teeth, spikes, arrows for a border. And I started doing those. And then I remembered, I've done the hitchhiker shawl a couple times. I've given it as gifts and done one for myself. I'm not really a fan of the points. I like things that are more smooth lined. So she gives you an option in the shawl to just do a garter edge. And so that's what I'm going to do, because I ripped out the couple teeth that I did because I'm not a big spiky person. So it's almost done. I just have a couple more rows of garter and then yay. So that should be done next week. Like I said, there are a ton of things that are really close to being done. And then the next thing that I have is my Buttercup by Heidi Kiermaier. And this I moved it to a bigger bag. This is in the bag I showed you guys last week that I got from DFW. And it's the Diana Couture. And I know her Etsy shop is on a break right now, but this bag might be my favorite. It's definitely one of my favorites because it sits really nice, but then this, and you don't even think about it, the yarn can come through here. And you can keep the cake in there and knit on it, and the yarn is just sitting through the little loop, and you can even close it up, and it expands so nicely. And my mom was over here earlier this week, and she was looking at it saying how nicely made it is because she is an amazing seamstress. She made my prom dresses, my homecoming dresses, my bridesmaids dresses. She's amazing. And this is the sweater. I'm really close to the bottom lace part. So there's the top lace, and the bottom lace just kind of is similar to that. There's the marker from where I was last time. And it's much more of a turquoise color than it's showing up almost a green with gray, but it's much more turquoise. I don't know. It's much more of a turquoise color. And this is out of some January yarns in the Squash Blossom colorway. So I think that will be done next week too, hopefully, because I'm really close to the bottom part, and then the sleeves are very short sleeves, so it shouldn't take long at all. The next thing I have on the needles is also a January yarns, and this is out of her Sea Glass, which is a green, like a minty green. And I am to the heel turn on these socks. I'll put it on my hand so you guys can see it. These are gorgeous, and I'm re-falling in love with cabled socks. I've been doing stripy socks for so long, and I still enjoy them, but I'm rediscovering how much I love the patterned and the charts, because you can progress through the chart and you can see it growing, and it's just amazing. So there's that. I just think it's so pretty. That's the toe, and there's the cables, and it's gonna have the heel next, and the pattern goes up the calf. So yay, I like it. And it's just so fun. I have my little highlighter tape, and I'm just moving it up and going through the row, and it's really, really nice, and I'm really enjoying it. So I look forward, oh, sorry, my cup slid on the table. I look forward to my next patterned sock, which I already got planned because it was one that was gifted to me for my birthday. Now for spinning. I haven't been showing you a couple of my spinning things in the last 2 weeks, I think it's been since spinning. Since I showed you because I was doing a secret project for a friend, and I need to get that in the mail and sent off to her. But I did have one that I finished spinning a while ago, but just recently plied, and it is my Corriedale. It's it needs its bath. But this is the Corriedale. And it's really pretty. There's some green with the yellow, pink and yellow. There's more pink and yellow. And it was not the most fun to spin, but I have loved the finished product. It's really squishy and a lot nicer than I would have thought while I was in the process of spinning it. And these colors scream Easter to me. I can't imagine a more Eastery color. It's so pretty. I think maybe next year for Easter I might knit my daughter something, I don't know, maybe some little play Easter eggs or a little Easter basket out of this. I'll have to see. I haven't measured my yardage yet just because I wanted to give it the bath and then find out how much it is, but I'm guessing it's probably my standard around 120, 160, which is kind of what I'm getting right now because I've just been spinning for a little while. The next thing I spun is some Three Waters Farm, and this is in the blue sunset colorway, and it's really pretty. You can see all these blues and creams and greens and then orange. So I'm really excited, and I've just spun half of the braid, and it's spinning up pretty fine. Can you see it right there? So some of it is thinner than others. I'm still, kind of learning, and I'm still learning to try to. The hard part for me right now is the joins, where I'm joining in new fiber, and I still haven't quite gotten that down to where my joins look nice. So there are splotches in here where I joined, and you can definitely see. But I'm really excited to see how this turns out. It's funny because I know I've heard a lot of times people say that they don't like plying, and plying is one of my favorite things because you don't have to worry about trying to thin out the fiber to make it all even. It's already been, the singles are already done. There's nothing else you can do to worry about that. And you're just, plying, and you can see how the yarn's going to look finished, and that makes me so happy. So that is all of my spinning. Now on to enabling. I have just one thing this week, and it was a club because I'm not going to be buying anything new for a while because, as you guys saw last week, I got all the amazingness at TFW, so I'm going to work through that because I entered all my new stash onto Ravelry, and I like to have, and it's a personal preference thing for everybody, I like to have my stash to where it says the number is just around 100, and I think it's around 104, 105 right now, so I need to knit up some of those to get me back to my happy medium. So this came and it is my Moonrover Fiber Club, March 2015. And it's really pretty. I'm not going to take it out, but it's grays and orange and blue and a hot pink. And I have loved the Moonrover Fiber Club, and this was my time, if I wanted to renew. And I weighed it in my head a lot. I really, really thought this out because I love the fiber so much that my gut reaction was, yes, renew. But then I thought that I wouldn't end up renewing for a couple of reasons. Number one, I'm a brand new spinner, and I don't want to have my entire fiber stash be one specific indie dyer. I want to, try a whole bunch of different things and get to experience. And I can only really be in one club at a time as far as stuff coming in and just money-wise. So I wanted to try a new club. And now, while I could have asked for the Moonrover to be a birthday present, somebody else to renew it for me so that I didn't have to pay for it from one of my other family members, but in the vein of trying new things, instead of asking them to renew it, I just said, oh, I'd love some money for the Fiber Fest. And so that's what I did, was I took the money and I got those 3 braids of fiber that you guys saw last time. So that'll be cool because I will get to try 3 completely new to me indie dyers that I've never tried before. And I will, if she does any colorways, because I do follow her on Instagram, if she does any colorways that I'm absolutely in love with, I will try to snag it because her fiber is amazing. And if you are looking for a fiber club to join, I highly recommend it. I'm just wanting to spin up what I have and get to try some other stuff before I completely have a fiber stash of just Moonrover. So next thing I have to do is we have a couple little group announcement stuff. This is the time that I was drawing for the 15 oldest skeins in 2015, and it doesn't have to be your very oldest. There's no oldest police. It's just using up some of your oldest stash. And so it's all year long, and every month at the last time I record in the month, I will be drawing for a winner. So that's today for March. And you can jump in at any time. Just knit with 15 of your older skeins. The idea is to just use them up. I think Abnormally Normal, who's in the group, I believe that's her Ravelry name, she was saying that for her to break into her oldest 15, she would have to break into her Wool Mize stash. That's not a bad oldest stash to break into. That's a great one. I've only used 1 skein of Wool Mize. I made my mother-in-law a shawl with it, but it was very nice and the colors are really vibrant. So if she does decide to break into that, I look forward to seeing all those gorgeous yarns. So I drew for a winner for the March one, and I have it saved on my phone because I drew early and looked it up so I didn't have to do a whole bunch of clicking. But it was 1 through 49, and the winner was number 10, post number 10, who is Sonic Freak, and Sonic Freak did a hat. So yay, Sonic Freak. Just contact me once you've seen this, and you get a pattern of your choice for $7 or less. And like I said, you can jump in and join anytime if you want to. You just have to be a member of the Ravelry group. The other things we have going on in the Ravelry group as far as the knit-alongs, our sweater knit-along is wrapping up. The last day for that will be March 31st, which is a Tuesday, and I will close the thread sometime April 1st, the morning of April 1st. So you have a while to get that, finish up your sweater. It doesn't have to have been started during the time of the KAL. It needs to be finished, and it was a January through the end of March KAL 3-month one. And I showed the prize for that last time, so if you didn't see last time's episode and you'd like to see the prize, you can go back and check that out. It's an Erin Lane bag. It's really cute and has some birds on it, and then it's a skein of Miss Babs Yowza, which I know most people love, and the Spread Your Wings colorway, so I will be drawing for that and announcing the winner next podcast. And then the thing that we have coming up for the knit along, the next one, or crochet along, is going to be knit something in your favorite color. And that's going to be running April and May, so 2 months, and we have 3 different prizes for that. And what you can do, and I showed the prizes last time too, and I'll show them next time when the knit along officially starts, is let's say your favorite color, and if you love all the colors, then it's easy for you because you can knit with any color. But let's say your favorite color is blue. You can knit a blue hat and enter it for the Notable Gnome prize. You could knit a blue shawl, enter that for the Fiber Rolags prize. You could knit blue mittens and enter them for the mini skeins from Woolly Wonka. Any of the ones that you are interested in, you can enter in all of them, or you can enter in one of them if only one of them interests you. So I thought that would be fun. And that is that knit along. We also have going on in our group right now the Night Circus read along, and it's been wonderful rereading this book and entering the world of magic again in the circus and the tents. And I posted a question on the group asking people what their favorite tent or attraction would be from the book, and it was wonderful reading people's different reactions of which ones they would love to see. And it's just such a magical book, one of those that really gets you into the world of it. And this read-along will end mid-April. And when this ends, Amy Loris, who does Knit Theory, contacted me and asked if I would like to do a joint read-along for Terry Pratchett, since he recently died, which is very sad because he's an amazing writer. And so when the Night Circus one ends, what we're going to do is pick any Terry Pratchett book that you like, read it, and then knit something that reminds you of the book. Colors, there's a certain idea from the book, if somebody wears a hat and you want to knit that, anything like that. And I'm going to get some wonderful prizes for that. I just haven't gotten any yet because it's pretty far in the future. It's not until mid-April. But I just wanted to get that out there so you could start thinking about it if you wanted to join along and you like Terry Pratchett. Now to the book for this week. This is a book that we read for my book club, and it's called Still Alice by Lisa Genova. And I read this on my Kindle, that's why I'm showing you on my iPad. And it says, a poignant portrait of Alzheimer's, not a book you will forget. So this was a harder book for me. The good thing about book clubs and such is that, or read-alongs like we're doing in the Ravelry group, is that they challenge you to read books that you wouldn't normally read. And now, while I don't mind reading books that are depressing generally, I love Madame Bovary and Revolutionary Road and different books like that. Books that are medically depressing, I don't normally like to read. Books with cancer, books with Alzheimer's, dementia, any kind of medical thing like that. I often feel like there's so much sad stuff in my real life with people that I know people in real life who have cancer right now, and I know people who've died from it. And so there's so much sad stuff in real life that I don't normally like to go and read more about it. It just really it hits me right here, and it gets to me for days, and it just makes me really sad. And so this is not a book I would have chose to read, but I'm glad I did read it. It was very well written, extremely well written, and the author, Lisa, does an amazing job of giving you a really inside look at the changes that happen in this woman's life and just the heartbreak of what she goes through. It is a heartbreaking book. It will rip you apart. So the basic idea is there's this woman who is diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's, and she is a professor at Harvard of psychology and linguistics, I believe, and she goes all around the world giving speeches, and the one thing she's kind of always prided herself on is her mind, and her husband loves her for her mind. And so when she starts to lose it, and just at the age of 50, I can't imagine that. You know, I still have a little less than 20 years till I'm 50, and I do not in any way think that 50 is old. I think 50 is an awesome age where there's so much still left to do with your life. And the thought of at 50 that you would start forgetting everything and not being able to know who your children were or your husband, it's very distressing. And apparently with I researched this a lot because I didn't know about it. Apparently with early onset, you go downhill very fast in most cases. And in the book she does, and it's heartbreaking. I think, you know, she has one of her earliest signs is she's out running in a place where she lives, where she always runs, and all of a sudden she gets disoriented and she has no idea where she is or how to get home, and that's kind of an early warning signal, and she slowly loses her ability to recognize others. She loses her ability to speak on the phone because it's confusing to her because she can't, it's a voice in the air across the distance. She loses her ability to, use her emails and stuff like that. And there's more in the book that I won't really go into per se with kind of her life plan of how this should all work out and things like that. I don't want to go into that, but there were times in this book where I was very angry. I was very, very angry with the husband. I do not think that he handled it well at all, and it was really upsetting to me. The part of marriage vows where it says for better or for worse, he apparently thought for worse meant not for worse. It was very upsetting to me, and there were times where I had to put the book down and walk away because it was really getting to me. So it's so well written that it does get to you. So if you don't mind books with medical conditions and that doesn't, bother you, and if you're looking for a book that really does an amazing job making you feel what it would be like, this book is amazing for that. The author did such a good job. I can't even say enough how well written it was. And I think that those are some of the books that you can tell that they are so well written is when it gets to you and you have to put it down or you can't put it down because some part of you is just reacting to it so strongly. Just like Night Circus. Night Circus is the opposite for me where I can't put it down. This book I had to keep putting it down. So Freckled Melissa, who's in our group, she also read this book recently and she was saying she couldn't wait to hear my observations on it. So those are my observations, and I'm glad I read it. I didn't enjoy it. I gave it on Goodreads a 3 stars. If I were just rating it on how well it were written, 5 stars all the way. I gave it a 3 star because for me a 5 star is a book that I really enjoyed and I would read it again probably, or I just really, really liked the book. This book, I can't say I enjoyed it because it was so tough. It was really tough for me to get through. It's Still Alice by Lisa Genova. So that is the book for this week and everything else that I had to show you guys. I hope you all have a wonderful week and that you get to do all the things you love. Okay, bye.